If you're feeling overwhelmed regarding your tax obligations as an Amazon seller, you're in the right place because in this video, I will be sharing with you everything you need to know, point you in the right direction, and share my top tools that I recommend to get you through tax season as stress-free as possible. And if you're new here, welcome. My name is Ali Hobart, and along with my husband Sumner, we share here on the channel all of our top tips, tricks, step-by-step tutorials, everything for you to succeed in your online businesses. So without further ado, let's get to it. So first things first, I have to say that I am not a financial or legal advisor, and I would highly recommend you to find one and contact them with all of the details about your specific situation, where you're from, where you're selling from, and everything, your business structures, everything. A lot of tax advisors would offer free consultations or very inexpensive consultations. So I would highly recommend you to find one for you in the area, someone who will be knowledgeable about your own case. But with that out of the way, I also want to say that this video is not about sales tax. Yes, a lot of people have confusion whether or not they need to remit sales tax in the US, and if they need to file reports and everything for every single state. And this is not a video about that, but I do want to quickly explain that if you are selling through Amazon FBA, fulfilled by Amazon, you don't need to worry about sales taxes and filing for each state or thresholds or anything like that. Amazon is going to be the marketplace facilitator, something that has already been into effect for Amazon, Etsy, Walmart, all of those marketplaces for a couple of years now, and they are the ones who are responsible for collecting, remitting, filing everything with the state. So you do not need to worry about that. We're going to be talking about filing your annual income tax within the United States. With that being said, if you are not a US citizen or resident, if you are an international seller, again, I cannot tell you exactly what you need. It will depend on your situation. But in most cases, I can say that you are not liable to file taxes in the US, even if you sell on Amazon US. So this is going to be a video covering mostly about if you do have tax obligations within the US, what do you need to do? So let's get to it. I'll start with my biggest advice throughout this whole video, and that is to hire a really good bookkeeper and CPA. Those could be in the same agency or separate people, but you need to make sure that both of them have great knowledge of inventory-based businesses, because it does function a little bit different than most 9-to-5 type of jobs, and there's a lot that you can do in terms of expenses and deductions and a lot of things in the way that cost of goods sold, how the accounting works. It's very specific to Amazon sellers or anyone who sells products, and so I highly recommend you to find a really good one. The CPA does not need to be a CPA specific for e-commerce sellers, although that could definitely be a bonus, but make sure that it's a CPA that understands your own situation very well, especially, as I mentioned before, if you are selling, being located in one place and selling in other countries and so on. But that's going to make the biggest difference, and it's going to relieve the most amount of stress for you. And when it comes to bookkeeping, it's the same thing. They know how to classify all types of expenses. They know how to organize everything that you have going on, because there's just so many different transactions. They know how to do it well. So go ahead and find a really good bookkeeper. You can find them online on Upwork or even locally as well. And as far as CPAs, we have our own local CPA, but one recommendation that I would give is sellerscpa.com. They are specific for Amazon sellers, but again, a lot of times when they get very specialized, they tend to cost a little bit more, so it's up to you, but I wanted to leave that recommendation here for you. Now, you may or may not have gotten a 1099 from Amazon. If you didn't get it, don't worry, I'll show you exactly where you can go to download it, but just know that you are only going to receive one, which is the document that tells exactly what you have received from Amazon electronically. It's 1099K. You're only going to get that if you have reached the threshold of sales or transactions. So that threshold is $20,000 in gross sales or 200 transactions. So if you have sold less than that, you're not going to be receiving that document. And that's something that you can tell your own CPA and they will know how to move forward with that. But in case that you haven't received an email and you want to download, you can just go to the main menu within Seller Central, go to reports, and then text document library. And you'll be able to see all of the 1099s that you have for previous years as well as this year, which is usually available a couple of weeks of January of every new year. Now, another thing that you're going to need is the summary of all of your income and expenses, something that will look like this. And you can get that manually for the entire year or for every single statement that Amazon has closed. Every time that they pay you, they have one of those statements. Or you could get a summary of that, which I would highly recommend so you can hand it over to your CPA. You can do that by going in Seller Central menu, go to payments, then go to reports repository. And on that page, you can go ahead and do all of your unified statements, invoice, and then select all of your statements unified. Then go to summary, select summary, then do the actual day range that you need. So for example, for last year, I would choose January 1st, 2023 till December 31st. Then you can generate the report and wait until it's ready for you to click and download, and then you can get your PDF. Now, as I mentioned, you can do that and you should do that for the entire year as a summary. But if you're not an accountant or a bookkeeper, you probably don't know this, but when you're actually creating all of the journal entries for your books, you need to do that for every statement. So for every payment that Amazon has sent you, there is a statement just like that showing all of the income, expenses, and even taxes. Your bookkeeper could do that manually. So you could download all of the statements for every 2 weeks that Amazon has one for your payments, or you could actually sign up for an app that would do that automatically, that would get that information from Amazon and take it straight into some sort of online bookkeeping such as QuickBooks, Xero, Sage. Those are the top 3. We personally like to use QuickBooks, but you can work with your own bookkeeper to see what's best. But the app that we really like to use and highly recommend is called A2X Accounting. That, in my opinion, after long research, is the best tool that can really save you so much time. And you're not only able to get all of those statements from Amazon, not just Amazon US, but you can link other marketplaces as well. If you sell in the UK or in, I don't know, the Middle East and so on, you can get all of those settlements and send it straight to your QuickBooks. But you can also do that for Shopify and Walmart and a few other marketplaces that they're affiliated with and can do that for you automatically. And another thing that you're going to need is your inventory ledger. So you need to tell your CPA how much inventory you had in the beginning of the year and at the end of the year. There's different types of accounting that your CPA is probably going to use. There is accrual and cash accounting, so that changes a little bit, but you can ask your CPA if they need the inventory ledger, because for goods sold, this type of business such as Amazon and products and physical products, you need to tell them exactly how much you have on hand at the end of the year. Because within your reports, you're gonna say, hey, this is how much I've paid for inventory, and there's the amount of inventory that has been sold, and that's going to count as a deduction for your gross sales. But you also need to tell them, hey, I paid for all of this inventory but haven't sold yet, but this is an expense that I want to deduct. So you need to give them an inventory ledger report. And the way that you can get this report on Amazon is by going to Seller Central, go to reports, fulfillment, then you can choose inventory ledger. Finally, one last thing that you definitely want to have, and a lot of times your bookkeeper will help you create as well as your CPA, is your profit and loss statement. Now, a lot of Amazon sellers think that they can get this profit and loss statement from Amazon, but you actually need to do that yourself because there's so many expenses that go into your business that is not within Amazon. For example, you have all of the income from your sales on Amazon, and you could even have all of the cost of goods that you've purchased from your suppliers and all the fees, of course, that Amazon charges for every sale. But if you all of other expenses of deductions of subscriptions for other tools, so many things that you actually need to track as manual expenses, other types of advertisement. Let's say you partner with influencers or you pay a social media manager to manage your brand or graphic designers and so on. All of those expenses can be deducted, and actually way more than you might think. That's also why it's very important to talk to a bookkeeper and a CPA that is knowledgeable in this type of business, because they will tell you many things that you didn't even know you could use as a deduction and then help you have to pay less. So that's why we actually use QuickBooks. And QuickBooks will help you create that report. You can put in all of your transactions. You can link your credit cards so you can have exactly the transaction, the vendor, everything that is needed accounting wise within the same app. And again, you can use A2X to send all of the Amazon data into QuickBooks as well. So in my experience, this is what will work the best. These tools are not very cheap, but they're definitely worth the time, the stress, and not to mention, it will help you get more organized. It will help you get a better understanding of your business finances in a way that a lot of other manual ways of bookkeeping wouldn't give you. So I would highly recommend you investing in some of those. And again, go talk to your CPA about all of the deductions that you can actually have, and they will file the tax for you. So I can't stress enough the importance of you finding a good bookkeeper and CPA, and also working with your CPA and bookkeeper. They might ask you for additional things. Let's say you use your car for your business, then you can deduct miles, and then you can go and get like specific apps to track the miles. If you manually ship things as well, you need to make sure that you keep account of all of the postage, and even you going to the post office and back, or if you work from home, you can deduct your office, even if you don't have an official office. If you have a table, if you use half of your living room, your dining room, that is the smart way to file your taxes within the US. And I hope that you found this video helpful. Again, this is not legal or a tax advice. Go and find a tax advisor and ask them all of your questions specific to your case. But I do hope that you found this valuable. And if you have any questions, leave those below. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye.